Hey, Carly, we have a pretty interesting show today.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, we're talking to Aaron Roth, who's the new director of Parks and Open Space for Jefferson County, along with Emily Guffin, and they're here to talk about Westracks, which you rode recently.
Yeah, I did ride it and it was a lot of fun for sure. And anyone can take it. It's free and it's really accessible. Just hop on and see all that Jeffco has to offer.
Yeah, so what is Westracks? Let's get into it.
Welcome into the Engage Jeffco podcast. Our guests today are Aaron Roth, the director of Jefferson County Parks and Open Space, and Emily Guffin, the Trails and Access Programs Manager. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Carly, for having us.
Happy to be here.
Really exciting. So we're going to talk about the Westracks shuttle, which I actually had an opportunity to ride. It was really fun. But Aaron, you're kind of new to the county. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks. Well, new is all relative, I guess, but I've only been on the job for 6 months or so with the county. So I do plan on calling myself new, maybe just 1 to 2 more years of that, if that's okay. My main credential before coming here and working with the Jefferson County Parks and Open Space team was working for the National Park Service, which I did for 20 years. And we're talking about transit and access to parks today. So I'll plan on pulling from those experiences with the national parks, because many of those national parks, really driving there, getting a parking spot, that can be a lot of the challenge. And so it's something we definitely dealt with at the National Park Service. And one of the programs that I oversaw during my tenure there was our transportation program and our alternative transportation program. So if you've ever been to, like, say, Zion National Park, and you got on the shuttle there and went into the canyon, that was one of our early experiences with transportation in parks. Started in right around the year 2000. I also worked on a transit and shuttle system for Muir Woods National Monument out in California during my time with National Park Service. And that's a situation where you can board a shuttle right from your own community or a park and ride and just have a real pleasant trip to the Redwoods, as we used to say. So yeah, so those are some of my experiences, and it's been great to be with Jefferson County this year in 2026, and looking forward to doing more stuff.
Well, let me put you on the spot right away.
Yeah.
And Emily, you can also chime in if you want to. Do you have maybe a handful of favorite parks, both nationally and maybe locally? I know there's probably not a number one because they're so different and they're different experiences, but give me a rundown of 5.
A rundown of 5. Okay. Yeah. So it's the same, when you work for the National Park Service, choosing parks or choosing your favorites. It's like, saying you have a favorite child.
Right.
You have to be a little bit careful with it. But since I don't work there anymore, I guess I can be more open. But I really have a soft spot for me. So my last role with Park Service, I was over an 8-state area, all the way from Montana down to Texas, and included Colorado, Arizona, Utah. And I have a soft spot for the whole Colorado Plateau area. I just think some of those places, Red Rock Country, you might think of it, are some of the most kind of special, almost spiritual places you can go. And the great part about what we're talking about today is you almost get a taste of that right here. But to get sort of the full experience, go to the Colorado Plateau. Start out like at Glen Canyon National Recreation Area. So we're talking about the area that's roughly north of the Grand Canyon. I would say west of, say, Monument Valley on the Navajo Nation, or Mesa Verde actually is a good everything, say east, west of Mesa Verde. And then Zion National Park, I mentioned already, in east, and a collection of those parks and places. So if you needed 5 national park sites to visit on the Colorado Plateau, you wanted to do kind of a loop, I would say start at Glen Canyon National Recreation Area, head over to Navajo National Monument, which is a gem of a park, and right on the Navajo Nation, cliff dwellings, all of that. I also really like Cannon de Chelly, also on the Navajo Nation in that area there. And then, of course, consider parks like the north rim of the Grand Canyon, Lee's Ferry, which sits between Glen and Grand Canyon. And then you can head up north and go to parks like Zion, Bryce, and Capitol Reef. And those experiences are really special, and you really can't get them anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, you just named 5 within like 12 hours of where we are.
I wrote all those down, and they're going to be on my next road trip / camping journey for sure.
Emily, do you have a favorite local park or a couple of other local parks,
That's a great question. And I will say Aaron's response was so thoughtfully phrased. Locally, I really like the Jefferson County Parks and Open Space system. I think within our system, I have a lot of favorite parks, and they vary based on what I like to do there. I really like Alderfer Three Sisters Park up in Evergreen, just because of the rock formations and the trees and the views of Mount Blue Sky and the other mountains in the area. And then down near town, I love both North Table and South Table Mountains, just because I feel like they provide a really good way to escape during the weekdays, to get outside and experience nature and just, reset after the workday.
Like you said, no favorite children here, but they're all lovely.
And there's so many options. You really can't have a wrong answer.
Right.
There is no wrong answer to that question.
That's true of Jefferson County Parks and Open Spaces. Every place has a story and something special about it. And I used to say that about national parks too. It doesn't matter, pick any national park site. There's 400 plus. And even if you don't know why you're going, finding out why it is special is one of the fun parts.
Completely agree.
Oh, cool. So when we're talking about parks, people want to see what are the trails like? Can I bring my bike? Should I bring my kids? How long is the loop? What are we going to see? Is there flowers? Is there birds? Transportation might not be something people think about when we're talking about our parks, until you actually have to drive there and find a parking spot. And that's where it gets a little tricky, right? So that's where Westracks kind of comes in. And so tell us about Westracks.
Happy to get us started on that. When it comes to the experiences you can have at the Parks and Open Space, it's really, yes, nature, wildlife, everything that you want to see, amazing trails, amazing views. And it's often the reality that you have to travel to get there, because by definition, these places were protected and they're a little bit further away from maybe where everyone lives and works. We are constantly thinking about how do we connect the people to the parks in a way that works for them. In fact, one of the major master plans or regional plans for Jefferson County is we have a vision where there is a park and open space within a 10-minute walk or drive of every single person in this county that they could experience. And this shuttle kind of fits in part of that, because especially in the center of our county, where we have our big population centers and where there's connectivity to the broader Denver metro area, we are finding that our parks and open spaces may not always have enough parking spots, basically, whether it's Lair of the Bear or Matthew Winters, and even with our Denver mountain parks like Red Rocks. And of course, Morrison is the same way in terms of going into town and finding that spot. So first, regional trails, getting there on your bike is something that we're regularly promoting and building connectivity to different places so that you can those that are able can hop on that bike and get to those places. For others, especially family groups and all sorts of diverse types of people, riding public transit is a better option. And there's what you call that kind of last mile problem, which is how do you get from that central transit stop to the actual park? And Westracks, that's where it comes in. We have this collection of amazing resources right in the center of our county, just 5 minutes from public transit. But how do you connect people to that? And the Westracks shuttle does that, because these are some of the most iconic locations that we have in the county. And Westracks is really focused on making that connection for people.
So how did this whole idea come about in the first place?
Well, Emily has been at this a little bit longer than I have. I'm pretty darn sure that it was something that Denver and Jefferson County representatives came together about. Emily, you want to talk a little bit about the history?
Yeah, absolutely. This project has been in the works for a very long time. It was envisioned by Denver Councilmember Watson and Jeffco Commissioner Kerr, as well as Green Latinos Colorado's Executive Director Ian Tafoya. all had a vision for connecting Denver residents to the destinations that Aaron just mentioned, this area in the foothills west of Denver that has so many destinations with dinosaur tracks and music tracks and museums and downtowns and all of that. And so it has been a collaborative effort from the beginning with those three partners. And then since then, we have brought in even more partners to try to make this a reality. So bringing in Town of Morrison and Friends of Dinosaur Ridge, RTD, CDOT, you name it. There are so many partners in this project to make the shuttle a reality.
I wish I could have been in on the meeting that came up with the name, because it's pretty catchy in my mind, the whole tracks theme. So first off, W line, right? That's on tracks, not to be too literal here, but that is a light rail line. W line goes out from Union Station all the way to Jeffco Center, collects all through Lakewood, Wheat Ridge, you name it, collects a variety of stops there. And so you're coming out on the tracks, and then you're going to see some tracks. I just think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so I can't claim any success of that, but or being part of creating that name, but I think it is pretty cool.
It is cool.
Let's go through maybe some specifics on maybe who can ride Westracks, and is it free? Do you need a ticket? That kind of stuff.
Free. Absolutely. We should have started with free. By the way, this whole thing starts with free. And that's a really cool part of it. And then pretty much, bike, dog, even your toddler, you can bring them all. And go onto the shuttle. I don't know if, the whole idea with public transit, the thing that's at its core, like one of the ethics of public transit, it's for everyone. And so the shuttle is a fully RTD compliant, accessible shuttle, safe for everyone. Anything else to add about anything you can't bring?
I don't think there is anything you can't bring on the shuttle. I think
stuffed dinosaurs are okay.
Encouraged,
if that's necessary for your toddler. That's fine too.
That's fair. Or for, your friendly local Engage Jeffco podcast host.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I might bring a stuffy. Does it run going to concerts at Red Rocks?
My understanding is no. Right now, it's focused on the daytime hours, because that is when the shuttle can link the most experiences in terms of when the museums and when the parks and open spaces are open.
Yep.
Because Red Rock shows generally are at night. Now, there are some occasionally a show in the afternoon, so you can always check the schedule of your particular show. But the shuttle is running 9 to 5. I'm pretty sure. And so Emily can correct me when I'm wrong. But basically, it's running during the day. And that's one of the things that's exciting about it, is you're actually connecting multiple experiences that are all going at once. So you can make a whole day out of it. So it's not just about getting to Red Rocks and back. It's about experiencing the whole area. And that's when those other attractions are open and available, is during that weekend daytime.
I'll just chip in and say that there were really three main goals for this program, and those were to increase equitable access to these destinations west of Denver, the parks and open spaces destinations, the museums, Dinosaur Ridge, downtown, which all, like Aaron mentioned, have daytime activities. The second big goal was to reduce congestion at our trailheads and in downtown Morrison. And we see a lot of our congestion at Matthews Winters and Mount Falcon during daytime hours between 9 and 1, 9 to 3 during the summer months. And then our third big goal was to support climate goals by reducing dependency on single occupancy vehicles. And so we felt for this pilot program of Westracks, focusing on those daytime destinations was the best way to think about how public transit actually works in this corridor and monitor its effectiveness and how people are using the service, and see how it's working and what changes we can make in the future. And like I mentioned, it is a pilot program. We have funding secured for 3 years, so 2026 through 2028. And during that 3-year period, we'll be collecting data and interacting with the shuttle riders to understand what they want right now, what they want in the future. And I think there's every possibility for it to be expanded in terms of the route or in the hours or completely different. We'll see.
So what would make it successful after 3 years from now? What would make it continue?
Seeing full shuttle buses along the circuit, every single bus, I think that would be a huge success. I think seeing reduced congestion at our trailheads right now, Matthews Winters and the Red Rocks Trading Post in downtown Morrison, if you've ever been there, it is congested on Saturdays and Sundays. There are so many people there. And so seeing those parking lots where there is capacity for additional cars, I think would be success. I think also seeing people accessing these destinations that hadn't previously accessed these destinations, people who may not have a car, being able to get out to the foothills and actually experience all of these amazing things that Denver has to offer.
Yeah, and I completely agree with Emily. I think ridership will be a huge variable. So that's why we want everyone to come out and try it. And we want to see people experience it and give us feedback. And that'll tell us where to go in the future, what adjustments to make, any tweaks to the schedule or where it stops and things like that. And as long, we really want to see that growing ridership too. It always starts small because it's a new service. But since the Regional Transportation District, that is a tax funded district and they want to get the best return out of their dollars and they are our primary funder for this, we absolutely need to see that ridership grow. And that'll be a key variable to figuring out if the service is valued enough to continue.
Yeah, Aaron mentioned it a little bit there, but it is free for riders. But who is funding all this?
Well, like I said, RTD provided the lion's share of the funding. Mm-hmm. They have a specific program that enables new transit services, new innovative approaches to start, and they partner with counties and cities on that. And so they've been a great partner for us. The other cool thing is just to see how many funders came in after that, not only to fund the buses themselves, but also all the marketing and promotion that's happening alongside of it. And then even some of our destinations have provided some discount tickets to that as a form of funding and incentives to get people to ride. So I know Emily has a little bit more details to make sure I don't miss any of the funders there.
Yeah, I will chip in to say we have a lot of funding partners for this program. RTD is our biggest funder for the 3-year pilot program, followed by Jefferson County and CDOT. Denver is also providing funding. Denver Mountain Parks Foundation is providing funding. Town of Morrison, Green Latinos Colorado, Friends of Dinosaur Ridge, and then also Aramark Sports and Entertainment, who actually manages the Red Rocks Trading Post over at Red Rocks. And so we have a total of 6 government agencies funding this, plus 3 nonprofit partners, plus 1 private sector organization, which I think is just such a cool example of bringing together so many different agencies to solve a complex regional problem.
Yeah.
And when you get that many funders, it gives you a clue that you might be onto something good. That's what we're hoping.
Oh, yeah.
And it's clear, it seems, that these community partners are invaluable to a new program like this. Can you kind of give some insight to that? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, whenever you're trying something new, whether it's our board of county commissioners, because Jefferson County's investor, or other, the board that oversees like regional transportation district, you always want to explain, why should government do this, or why is this a service that we should strive for, especially when budgets, whether it's the federal, state level, are so tight. You have to make a good justification. And when you can actually say that, no, we have Town of Morrison involved, we have a user group like Green Latinos involved, we have something that Denver wants and Jefferson County wants, and we're all in this together, it really helps make that case.
How does it work in practice? Where do people go? How would a day using Westracks look like for an average user?
I feel like, Emily, you can start with this and then I'll add my spin to it.
Let's see. So I see someone from Denver waking up on a Saturday morning, hopping on the W line, riding the W line all the way west to the Jeffco Government Center and RTD Golden Station, getting off there, hopping on the Westracks, which is waiting there right there at the Golden Station, and then riding the bus down to Matthews Winters, I think would be a great first stop, getting off there. And then we have some really amazing trails at Matthews Winters. We have the Morrison Slide Trail loop, where you can do about a 4-mile hiking loop, which has beautiful views of the rocks and downtown Denver. You might be able to see some wildlife, like some mule deer, who knows, maybe a mountain lion. And then hop back on the shuttle, which runs at a 15-minute frequency along the route during the entire daytime hours. So there should be a bus there already, if not within 15 minutes of you getting back to the trailhead.
And you probably need 15 minutes just to rest anyway.
That's very true. And fill your backpack and just get ready.
And then my addition or tweak on that would be too, is like, I'm always a fan of, if you can, and this is what the shuttle offers, something new, is the idea to do like a one-way. Because if you drive to a park, you are limited fundamentally. I got to get back to my car, at the end of the day. So I always have to do an out and back or a loop. If you got off at Matthew Winters, you could actually do a one-way hike to the amphitheater and then pick up the shuttle at the trading post, which is something I would opt for to do, not only because it's slightly downhill, which I appreciate, but then it just gives you the opportunity to pick up the shuttle at a different spot and continue on your adventure.
That is a really great point, Aaron. And I think that would be a great use for the shuttle for that downhill hiking. I think a lot of people would use it that way. One additional stop I would like to make on my dream day of riding Westracks. So after my hike, either I end at Matthews Winters or at the trading post, per Aaron's recommendation. Then I would hop back on the shuttle bus and ride it down to downtown Morrison, where I'd stop at the Morrison Inn, where they are offering buy one, get one margaritas for anyone who arrives via the Westracks shuttle bus. And so then I would stay there, get lunch, wander the downtown, look at the shops. And then from there, I'd hop back on the shuttle and head back home.
You had me at walking downhill. That's my favorite type of hike. But margaritas on top of that, I'm in. So.
That is another thing about the shuttle, is there's a basic need to be completely sober when operating a motor vehicle. And if you are the type to enjoy, say, a beer or margarita after your hike, both those options are available in the town of Morrison. So you do your hike. I think our stop is right across from Red Rocks Beer Garden.
It's across from the beer garden.
So that's just not so subtle hint there that you could, after completing your hike, stop in the beer garden or the inn, have a beverage, and then make that return trip.
Or you can do what me and my family did the other weekend.
Which was?
We biked from our house to the Morrison Natural History Museum. Dug in the sand a little bit for dinosaur bones. Then we saw the bus, and my toddler had to ride the bus because it's a bus, of course.
Yeah.
So we loaded our bikes up onto the bike rack in the front, and we rode the bus all the way to the Dinosaur Ridge Discovery Museum, saw more dinosaurs, and then rode the bus again, and then biked home.
That sounds amazing.
And that's what we did. It was a day full of biking, buses, and dinosaurs. And he was so happy. We did go home for lunch, but we could have stopped at the beer garden for a soft pretzel. But anyway.
Again, soft pretzels, beer, margaritas, downhill walks.
The outdoors is suddenly becoming much more appealing.
Yes. Every 15 minutes is the schedule. So that's every stop. It's every 15 minutes. Or supposed to be. So.
Yeah. I mean, one of the big drivers of customer, user satisfaction is nobody likes to wait a long time or be worried that is the bus coming and that type of thing. And so that's one of the things that's not only is the route really thoughtful, but one of the things that's really impressive about this pilot is the funders were able to step up and have a really pretty good frequency, because 15 minutes mean on average you're waiting like 7 to 10, if that. And so in terms of moving about the area in your day, that's going to compete really well with trying to find a parking spot at each location or just even navigating it. So it's going to be an efficient use of your day. And the other thing I personally just like about shuttles and transportation in general, I talked way earlier about like the Zion shuttle. I remember, although the core thing about the shuttle in Zion National Park, it is about congestion and moving people through. One of the surprising feedback we get back all the time is how it enhances the experience, how people got to see more things. And that's what I feel the same about this Westracks is, you're going to these different places, but all along the way, you're seeing the area in maybe a way you hadn't before.
It's a scenic drive.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Yeah. And if you're driving, you're paying attention to the road, hopefully. And obviously,
especially the windy runs in this area.
And like you said, you don't necessarily have to be 100% sober to ride on this. on the shuttle. So
Yes. And so in terms of like making a day of it and just having a memorable experience that you're going to think about after, incorporating the Westracks and this is why I live in Lakewood, not too far from the Federal Center station on the W line. I always insist whenever we're going to, whether it's Nuggets games, Rockies games, or something downtown, a concert, we're taking, the W line. And I might get a couple, occasional grumble from family members who want to be there right away. But for me, it's the experience of seeing the neighborhoods along the way and seeing everything in a slightly different light.
Something else that really enhances the experience are the bus drivers. My bus driver was Dom. He was so cool, and he helped all of the riders if they were like, is this the right bus? Is this where I'm supposed to go? If they're not familiar with the area, he gave them some good tips. He said, if you hike this trail, you'll end up at Red Rocks. That's the trail that Aaron was talking about earlier. And so you get kind of a tour guide too if you take Westracks. And I can't speak for the other bus drivers, but Dom was definitely a fun one for sure and very helpful. I just ran into a few riders that were from out of state and even out of the country.
yes, shout out to Dom.
We believe our bus drivers will absolutely know more than your Uber driver. And so they will know, they will be able to give you some tips guaranteed.
One more thing I also wanted to mention is you talked a little bit about the congestion, but also the environmental impact. If 100 cars a day or whatever the number is are going up into Red Rocks or going to Matthews Winters or anything, or any national park, any park in general, each person, hey, there's 4 of us here. Let's all meet there in our own separate cars. The environmental impact by taking all of those car trips can definitely protect the spaces that we're there to see in the first place.
Completely agree.
Yeah. And, these spaces were purchased by Jefferson County and our partners because they are so special and the landscapes that they represent. And so it is a real tension for us as managers of these spaces. We want everyone to be able to come right in, quickly get situated, and get out in the parks. However, if everyone is coming with one individual car, there's also this notion we don't want paradise paved, and we do not want these huge parking garage style places. So that's why, yes, this is a pilot of transit just in this one area or this one type. But what could this mean for the future of many of our precious park areas and that are, cannot have everyone drive individually? Could this, if this is successful here, could this be used for other experiences throughout the county or the area so that we can, because a lot of these parks and open spaces, there's plenty of room for humans, plenty of room for people to spread out, but not necessarily for everyone's car.
Right.
After this 3-year pilot, 5, 10, maybe 15 years down the road, do you see this not only being a model, as you said, but expanding? Let me do it again, as you said. Okay.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't have to be
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect, but
verbatim.
but I'm a perfectionist. Okay. After this 3-year pilot is done, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, do you see this not only being a model, as you said, but expanding beyond some of the stops it's already at, or adding another Westracks like shuttle service in different parts of the county?
Yeah, it's hard to predict the future or hard to say, but I'll say that there is a couple things you could see or imagine. One is in Clear Creek Canyon. If any of you have been Clear Creek Canyon, Jefferson County Parks and Open Space and its partners have been working pretty steadily to expand recreational access to Clear Creek Canyon through the Clear Creek Trail, another project that Emily has worked on. And the experience you can have there with the water and the views, and just taking in the geology and the rock formations, it's pretty special. And so we see in the future, many more people wanting to come and experience that will be potentially on the list with Red Rocks of places that you must see when visiting the Denver metro area.
Oh, yeah.
And just like Dinosaur Ridge is now. And so if that continues, there is obviously I talked about Zion Canyon, Clear Creek Canyon is similar. There's only so much space for parking. So you could see 10 years down the line, a shuttle that could take you up from Golden or even right from that same W line stop at Jeffco Government Center. And you could have your choice. Would you like to go south to Westracks, or would you like to go insert catchy name here for the Clear Creek Canyon shuttle.
We'll workshop some of the.
Yeah, workshop. Invite me to the meeting this time.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, especially in the canyon, you have to parallel park, but maybe there's no room for the exact spot you want to be. So you got to drive 2 miles down the road and then find a parking spot. But it really just protects erosion and other things from happening. People making their own parking lots, own parking spaces within the parks, or even along the highway.
Absolutely, too. And Clear Creek Canyon is another one where, like I said, I'm a big fan of those one-way hikes or one-way experiences. So you could see, taking a bus in, getting dropped off, and then again, a gently downhill, Johnny's favorite,
Yes.
gently downhill trail to get back to Golden.
Or float.
Yeah, float, maybe something involving wheels.
In the safe areas, please.
Yes.
In the floating, only in the safe areas.
Yes, of course.
One thing I wanted to touch on before we go, you mentioned that when you said you take the light rail downtown to games or just to visit downtown or whatever, that you're passing these neighborhoods. You're enjoying the community, not only seeing the places that people live, but also interacting with people, some who may not be the most outdoorsy people. Can you touch on that community building aspect of Westracks?
We know that in Denver metro area, all these special places are kind of shared by all. So just like us suburbanites pile in and come downtown and overwhelm the city of Denver on occasion, we know that plenty of folks living downtown want to get away from it all and experience what we have out here in Jefferson County. And we, of course, welcome that and appreciate it. And so I think that's the community building aspect, is making sure that everyone has the ability to do that, because we know gas prices are high. Depending on your background or your abilities, it may feel perfectly safe for you to hop in your car and drive out to some random wild place. I think Emily even mentioned mountain lions, which is not common, by the way. But, some of that stuff can be intimidating to just go out on your own and figure everything out. The nice thing about the Westracks shuttle, it helps us alleviate congestion, but it helps that user feel safe, that whether it's Dom or whoever, to say, yes, get off here, you can do this, you can make a connection to something else, and you'll be within range of this transit system that will bring you home safely. And so to me, it's the community building of being able to visit each other's places and feel safe about it.
Maybe those city dogs just want to go on a hike too.
Yeah.
They want to touch grass sometimes too.
I think my dog is more of a downhill dog too. So. Emily, Aaron, thank you for coming in and taking your time to give us the lowdown on Westracks. Anything that we may have missed or you want to address real quick?
We appreciate Carly. Thanks for being one of our initial riders and coming out and experience. Johnny, I'm looking forward to your videographer. Whatever video you produce being out there, or at least hearing about it on an upcoming podcast.
Sounds good.
I would also chip in to say that there's still a lot of summer left to ride the Westracks shuttle. And we do have a lot of activation events planned for the remaining about 2 months left of the program. So we'll have events at each of the stops throughout weekends in the summer. They may include food trucks and scavenger hunts and selfie booths and maybe some giveaways. We'll see. And so I recommend that you go out there and check it out. And I also would like to just give a plug for Westracks is now on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. And so if you want to stay in the loop about those activation events that I just mentioned, you can give all those platforms a follow and know when you want to head out to go check out the food truck.
And tag them. If you're on Westracks, go ahead and tag them on social media.
Yeah, for sure. It's Westracks with just one T in the middle, Westracks.
Absolutely. We didn't come up with this catchy name for nothing.
Yeah.
And activation events, that's code for free and fun stuff.
Yeah.
So if you sign up for that, you'll know when that's happening.
I'm definitely
A free ride to more free stuff. You got to love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Aaron and Emily. It was such a fun conversation to talk about a fun topic. And I spoke to riders when I was out there, and it was just really cool to see where people were coming from and headed to on a lovely weekend. So definitely make that your next weekend plans. But until then, look out for each other, Jeffco.
Thanks, Carly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again to Emily and Aaron for stopping in to give us the lowdown on everything Westracks.
Yeah, this has been a long time coming. It was first envisioned in 2023, and now it's finally here.
So, but before we move on, what is this? What's going on here?
This is Sarah, this Triceratops. She's my dinosaur stuffy. You guys said that dinosaur stuffies were welcome on Westracks, and so I'm just going along with it.
Yeah, so next time you hit Dinosaur Ridge, make sure to bring your stuffy.
Why not?
Yeah. And you can find all that information about Westracks in the show notes along with our social media handles. That's at Jeffco, Colorado.
Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcast. Give us a 5-star rating while you're at it as well. Also, subscribe on YouTube. You can watch these podcasts on YouTube. If you're not already, subscribe there as well.
Also in the show notes is our Speak Pipe feature, which is basically like a voicemail for us. So if you have a topic or a question that you want to suggest, go ahead and hit us up in the show notes as well.
It's just like leaving us a voicemail on your phone. So go ahead and tap there and drop us a line.
Yeah, there you go. And as always, Jeffco, look out for one another.